The second half of our show tonight is comprised of personal narratives, where folks take their own life experiences, sprinkle a little fairy dust, and turn them into something that is a little bit more theatrical. One of our most apt practitioners of this performance mode is Kyle Egelhoff. If you've followed Kyle's performances over the years, his personal narratives, you know that he has a tendency to tell some kind of dark stories, and you're probably excited to see him tell a really happy one. Unfortunately, that won't happen here tonight. No. Ladies and gentlemen, Kyle Egelhoff.
All right, let me set the scene. It is 8th grade prom. If you think 8th grade prom sounds ridiculous, you're exactly right.
Thank you.
I didn't think 8th grade prom was going to be a very formal affair. But to play along, I still wore a button-up shirt, black pants, and black shoes. The only problem was the black pair of shoes was a pair of Vans, the black pair of pants were a pair of skinny jeans, and the button-up shirt started out white, but faded to waves at the bottom, which you wouldn't have seen if I had bothered to tuck in the shirt, which I hadn't. Now, I assumed everyone had the same ideas about the dress code at our 8th grade prom, but looking around as I waited for my date, I realized that all the boys had rented suits, and all the girls had bought dresses. I felt underdressed, but I had one hope. Maybe my date didn't care as much about 8th grade prom as I did. Watching her get out of the car, I realized my massive mistake. She had spent the last 12 hours getting her hair done, her makeup done. She had bought a new dress and new shoes to match, and getting out of that car far more elegantly than I expected any 14-year-old. Angel came to prom. This shall be known as mistake number 1. We went inside to join the prom. I was contractually obligated for 2 slow dances. When the slow dances came on, we went into the room, and I prepared. Now, it had been a couple years since my last slow dancing class, but I'm pretty sure I remember the moves. The song had begun, and so we danced. Just like this, for 2 songs in a row. We eventually had to be separated because during the dancing, my hand had slipped far too south for 8th grade decency, and we had to leave the prom. This shall be known as mistake number 2. After the prom, we went to Dave & Buster's. If you don't know what Dave & Buster's is, it's a little bit like Las Vegas for 8th graders. There's lights, there's noises, there's shiny things, everything you need to distract you. We went to order food, and I sat down, and Angel's mom said the phrase, "Don't worry about it, I got you." Now, as an 8th grader, I didn't understand the phrase, "I got you." To normal people, "I got you" means, please, order respectfully, within $5 of my meal, please. To an 8th grader, that obviously meant buy whatever food you want. No one has to suffer for this. This is fine. I ordered a full rack of ribs, a side order of fries, and a second side order of fries, just in case. Then became the part of the dinner that I was not expecting. I had not had any conversations with Angel's mom. And really, I hadn't had any conversations with Angel herself. And they began speaking. I had nothing to say, so I sipped on my Dr. Pepper. 5 drinks went through by the time I finally got my meal. And I was feeling a lot fuller than I expected, in all honesty. But I ordered a lot of food, so I tried to eat super fast, try to beat the food to my stomach. And I gorged myself on ribs, getting it all over my face and hands, and I tried to clean it off with the fries, but that doesn't work. had drank about 8 glasses of Dr. Pepper, and just keep it in mind, it's important later. Angel then said, "Did you want to go play games?" And I said, "Yes!" That was known as mistake number 3. Going to play the games. Now, I realized I had made mistakes before. I realized I was underdressed. I realized I'm not the best dancer out there. And the awkward glances I was getting as I only finished half of my food and pushed half of a plate of ribs away, I realized I'd made a mistake on the food, too. So I wanted to make it up to Angel. I decided I was going to spend all of my 20 tokens earning tickets to earn a ring, a little purple plastic ring. I mean, it was important in 8th grade.
Yeah.
So I went to one of the big payout games. You stick a token into a slot, something out of your control happens, maybe tickets come out. The game I had my eye on was the coin drop game. You took your token, put it into a slot. The coin would fall from the sky of the machine, land in a pile of coins, and a small wall would advance forward, pushing coins towards a hole. If the coins fell, you got them back, and several tickets. It seemed like a no-brainer. So, I stuck the token to the slot. I watched the coin fall down. I watched the small wall advance forward, and then I watched nothing happen. Uncool. So, I took a token, and I put it in the slot, and I watched the token fall down, and I watched the small wall advance, and I watched nothing happen. That happened 20 times in a row. I spent $5 on this stupid game. I didn't know what to do, so I decided to finally find Angel after 30 minutes of obsessive playing. She wondered what I was doing, if I had fun, and I said, yeah. She asked if I wanted to play a game, and I said, no. She said, why? And I said, I'm out of tokens. And she said, really? Okay, well, you could ask my mom for some more money. I didn't know you could do that. You could just ask people for money? Weird. So I went back to the food area. I walked towards the table, and I saw a plate of ribs that, in all honesty, I could have eaten a few more. Come on, they're still warm. I saw the fries that were now getting really gross. And I sat down and I looked and I said, Angel's mom? Angel said it would be all right if I had some more money. She said, all right, and handed me a 10. I exchanged that 10 for coins, and with 40 new tokens, I went immediately back to the coin drop game. I mean, I wasn't gonna be beat by a machine. So I took my tokens and I put it into the slot, and I watched the coin fall down, and I watched the small wall advance, and I watched nothing happen. So I took a token and I put it in the slot, and I watched the coin fall down, and I watched the small wall advance, and then I watched nothing happen again. And then I took a token and I put it into the slot, and I watched it happen another 40 times. I had sunk $15 into this game. I knew exactly where 60 of my coins were. I wasn't gonna lose. I formulated a plan. A plan that shall be known as mistake number 4. I decided to go back to Angel's mom without Angel's permission. I walked back over to the food area. I saw a plate of ribs that I wouldn't have eaten. I saw the plate of fries that no one would eat. And I sat down and I said, Angel's mom, I am out of tokens. And Angel said it would be all right if I asked for more. She said, sure, and handed me a $20 bill.
Weird.
I exchanged that $20 bill into 80 tokens. And with my 80 tokens, I went right back to my coin drop machine. Because I was not going to be beaten by a machine, and honestly, I had paid for it by now.
God
So I took a token and I put it into the slot, and I watched the coin fall down, and I watched the small wall advance, and I watched nothing happen. I took a token and I put it into the slot, and I watched the coin fall down, and I watched the small wall advance, and I watched nothing happen. I was getting desperate. I had spent 17 of the $20 I had just been given. I was getting desperate. I was getting antsy. I was getting somewhere. Goodness me, I had to go somewhere, but I couldn't leave. I mean, I only had a couple more tokens to go, and it only took one big fall for this all to come around, folks. So I took a token, and I put it into the slot, and I watched the coin fall down, and I watched the small wall advance, and then I watched nothing happen. So I took a token, and I put it into the slot, and I watched the coin fall down, and I watched the small wall advance, and then I watched nothing happen. I was on my last coin. I could see the bathroom, and honestly, I could smell the bathroom. The bathroom was 15 feet to my left, and I had just ignored it. I took the token, I put it into the slot, and I watched the coin fall down, and as I watched nothing happen, I felt a moment of release. An abject horror. That will be known as mistake number 5. I ran to the bathroom. I splashed water on my pant leg and attempted very hard to make it look like there was some kind of plumbing accident. And I walked back towards the eating area, the freezing cold plate of ribs and fries staring at me, mocking me. Angel asked, "What happened?" I said, "Plumbing accident." I was suave. What can I say? Now see, I thought I'd made a lot of mistakes that night. I counted 5. There were probably more. In all honesty, I thought this was doomed. This relationship was dead. But we dated for 7 years after that, so I don't know. Now, I'd like to impart to you a moral. It is a good idea, because I learned something that day. I learned that, in all honesty, don't worry about your mistakes, because in all honesty, no one's really keeping track.